Okay, in this section, I'm going to talk about weaves. For our purposes, I try to be consistent. I also try to follow what the choreographer decides to write on their step sheet. For me, I generally will call a weave well, let me back up. People overthink a weave, and you shouldn't. It's really a vine, okay? It's just a special vine, at least for my purposes and how I try to use it in class. So for me, a vine that results in one of your legs crossing in front of the other, okay, kind of turns that into a weave. Now, weaves sometimes start by just like a vine, okay? So if I'm doing a weave to the right, all right, and weaves, well, let me just back up. If I'm doing a weave to the right, it starts like a vine, side, behind, side. Here's the cross in front. Some people will call that a vine with a cross. Other people will call it a weave, okay? Generally, if I have a foot that crosses in front, it's become a weave, or if it's longer than a vine, it becomes a weave because you end up crossing in front like that, okay? So now, what I also see very common is that you have a cross weave, okay? And this is probably more where the term weave gets used pretty consistently. So crossing would just mean whenever I see the word cross in front of the word weave, that tells you instead of stepping to the side first, the first thing you're gonna do is cross a foot over the other leg. All right, so if we're gonna do a weave to the right, our weight would be on our right foot. I'm sorry, if we're going to do a cross weave to the right, our weight would be on our right foot. All right, and then we'd be moving our left foot. So a cross weave would be cross, side, behind. Sometimes you keep going side, touch. It really depends on what the rest of the song calls for. Okay, now all of this can be done to the left, right? So if your weight is on your right foot and we do a plain weave, you're going to step left, behind, left, cross, and then possibly continue on further for a longer weave. Or if you do a cross weave to the left, you would start with your weight on your left and you would cross side, behind, side, and so on. So I like to tell people in our classes, don't stress over the weave. It's really just a vine where you end up crossing your foot in front of the other leg. Just depends on where in that step you do that. Sometimes it's at the beginning, sometimes it's at the end. Okay, so weave is just for me, it's a longer vine, different type of vine. And I hope that helps.